Think you're too old to start a career once you're in menopause? Well, think again. Today, I'm talking to two entrepreneurial women who started their business while going through perimenopause and menopause. Stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Today I'm here with Tracy Hornik and Jessica Wright from She's on Top. And She's on Top is a community by women, for women, and empowering women to tell their story. So welcome to our show, ladies.
Hi. Thank you.
All right, Jessica, let's start with you. Tell us what inspired you to start She's on Top and explain what it is.
Okay, so it's a community, as you said, of women supporting women. And basically, Tracy and I, at our core, are storytellers. And we really love getting out there and telling the stories of amazing female entrepreneurs and change makers, and just learning about their journey, demystifying it, telling the truth, the ups and the downs. And we believe that all women, like if we support each other, that we all have a unique value. So there's no reason to compete. So if we support each other, celebrate each other, collaborate, then we're all going to grow together. So that's the core of She's on Top.
I love that. Now, Randy and I, so both of you know that I have a partner, 20 years, Randy Boyer, who I know we're going to do an interview with you ladies. So we're really excited. And all of you who are watching should definitely check it out on their YouTube channel, She's on Top. And we're all about women supporting women. So getting rid of that jealousy, there's room for everyone. Tracy, the other day when we were talking, both of you ladies mentioned something about the scarcity mentality. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and why, as She's on Top, the two of you are so much about getting rid of that way of thinking and understanding that there's room for all of us so that we can all support each other as women?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. Well, we all have such a unique value to bring. And, just like, you walk down the street and you'll see 6 eyeglasses store right next door each other. And you're like, why are they all next door each other? Because they all bring something unique and different. So we feel that every woman can bring something, that we don't have to compete with each other. We talk about the dog-eat-dog world, but we're not dogs, we're women. So why don't we work together, come together, and help each other rise up? So that's really what She's on Top's about.
What do you think it is? And, Jessica, I guess we'll go back to you. Why do you think it is that as women, we have this sense of, competing with each other, or maybe not supporting each other the way we should be supported? And Randy and I talk about it a lot because in 20 years in business, we've met a lot of women who are very much about supporting each other, but unfortunately we've met women who are not. And I want to understand, and I'm not saying you know the answer, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Why do you think that is?
I actually don't think it's our nature. I think that what women have done in order to succeed in business is develop or copy what I think is more of a male model. So, they think it's that survival of the fittest, work your way to a top. They always have that expression, it takes a village to raise a child. And women are naturally that village. That is, I think, our true nature. And we just have to work our way back to that. And also, I think, we're seeing examples in the world right now about how that survival of the fittest doesn't work. And, the most successful countries right now are led by women. And it's because they have a more collaborative approach. So I think it's just something that we have to work our way out of, because I actually don't think it's naturally the way most women are.
Tracy, what are some tips that you would recommend to our viewers that we could do as women to support each other better?
So many tips. I think that we have to listen. I think we have to be better listeners. I think that's key to, we go in sometimes with our own ideas. We have to be open to that. I think we have to help encourage women too. Like, I have 2 daughters who are both just entering the workforce, and I encourage them to help others too, not just think about themselves, but also to help other people that are struggling. In fact, one of my daughter's young friends, she's in PR, she's 25. She reached out to us and she said, I love what you guys are doing, and I'm going to do it for free. She has a full-time job. She's working like crazy hours, but she loves what she's doing. And so she's going to help support us. And so that's what I'm talking about, just like reaching out and helping other people, not just making it about yourself. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love that you're saying that. I have 2 daughters, and, one of the things I always tell my daughters is, don't be afraid to compliment other women. Don't be afraid to tell another woman if she's beautiful or she's doing a great job or whatever it is you're thinking. So, great story. We were at a shopping mall all before this hit, and we were actually like out and about, and we were at a store, and there was this woman, she was a cashier, and right away, I was like, oh my God, she is so gorgeous. Her eyes, just everything about her, just absolutely radiated confidence and beauty. And when we left, I looked and I said something to her. And when we left, my daughter, who was with me, was like, Mommy, I was thinking the exact same thing. And I'm like, so next time, verbalize it. Tell her there's nothing wrong with that. Showing another woman that by you expressing that confidence or telling her what you think, you're actually showing how confident you are too. So I think it's really important that we say how we feel. And if we're thinking something negative, obviously don't say that. But if you're thinking something positive, let women know that, right?
Absolutely. I think that I think both of us believe the scarcity culture that we're all being fed is a myth. And it's, it's designed to keep us nervous. It's designed to keep us competitive, but they've proven there's more than enough food to feed people all the world. There's more than enough money to go around. The idea of not enough is not true. And I think that it starts sort of in the world, works its way down until all of a sudden we're like, I'm not enough. And so then you get into this competitive thing. And that's why we want to turn it around. We're enough. There is enough. We're all enough. And there's room for all of us. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I'd actually like to add something too, because I think sometimes that we're taught, and we're not anti-men, She's on Top is not anti-men, but we're taught that we're not as successful as men because, I know we have babies or like we're going through menopause. And I think that's not true, that we can be. And I think as women, we have to support each other in that and help each other to spread that message that we can be different, like we're different to men, we work differently, but we can be just as successful.
Or more. If you look at the women leaders, they're the ones leading the way right now, right? Like we have to do it in our unique way, not copy a model that isn't as of our nature.
Well said. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that it is important that we to do things the way we are meant to be and the way women do things. So I 100% agree with that and not try to emulate anybody or anyone else.
And can I say one thing? I love the compliment thing that you said, because I do the same thing. And the thing is, when you do it, it actually makes you feel better. Like to say something to somebody, they light up, they're thrilled. You end up having also a lot of times when I've done it, they'll say something back and you have a conversation and you can make a really big connection. So there's so many ripple benefits to doing that, I think.
And I noticed that a lot of people are taken aback when we compliment them. They're like, it's kind of like, whoa, I'm not used to that. So I say, ladies, everyone watching, women, please compliment other women because I think it's so important. And like you said, Jessica, it'll make people's day. It makes us feel good too. All right, let's pivot to entrepreneurship. Now, Tracy, you mentioned perimenopause, menopause, and I'm almost think that, and now I'm 50 and I've been in menopause now for about a year. And I feel that there's so many changes going on in our body and especially myself, my confidence, who I am, who I've always, who I always thought I was, isn't necessarily who I am right now. Like, it's very interesting. Like I'm coming into myself and I almost wonder if this time in our lives really makes a difference for giving us the confidence to start our own business. Would you say that it plays a role?
I think it does. I just think basically age actually gives us the confidence because we've gone through so much. Like Jessica and I are both in our 50s and, we've had different career paths. I've been a lawyer. I've had my own photography business. I've worked in a wholesale gift company. Jessica's been in TV. Like we bring all these different experiences. And so the older we get, the more confidence we have. And I just think the more experience we have. So it's interesting how people write you off when you hit 50, right? Especially women, they write you off. I think we have so much to offer. I feel more fabulous now than I did. I was insecure in my 20s and 30s. So I have the confidence now to really work that business and enjoy it.
Jessica, do you have anything to add to that? I completely agree with you, Tracy.
Yeah, I think there's this mythology, like, women worry about hitting 40 or they worry about hitting 50, that, it's basically usually based on our physicality that, and our fertility why we're not valuable. But most women I talk to in their 50s are like, this is the best time of my life. I've never felt better. You get a different kind of confidence. You settle into your own body and skin, even though your body is obviously going through changes, but it's just a different energy. I love being in my 50s.
I do too, actually. And I remember Oprah years ago when she turned 50, she was saying that she loved being 50 or being in her 50s. And now I completely understand it. And it's not the same as it was when my mother and grandmother went through perimenopause and menopause and they were in their 50s, let's say. So I think that it definitely has a different, we want to banish this stigma around aging, around being in perimenopause and menopause. And someone once told me this really cool fact that as our estrogen levels decrease, it actually, estrogen is that buffer, that kind of like that, it makes it that softness that gives women who they are and what they are. And as estrogen goes down, it actually takes away from that softness. So we become a lot more direct. We become a lot more like kind of like to the point. And I have to say, I am definitely experiencing that, because in the past, like, great examples have just happened recently. Randy in the past would be like, you need to be tougher or firmer about this. And recently I've been super firm and super tough, which is surprising myself, I have to tell you. So I do agree. And that ties into, like you're saying, Tracy, it ties into age as well, at the same time that we're going through these changes in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Yep. I same kind of thing. Like, you just, like I said, it's just a different kind of confidence. You stop really caring what people think. Once you know who you are, you're just like, I'm going to say what I think. They can like it, not like it, fine. And not necessarily in a rude way, but I'm just not so concerned about everybody liking me or not liking me. I'll connect with the right people who have the same values and the same thought process.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I find really interesting is that, maybe we can talk about this a little bit when we interview you, but no one really talks about menopause. Like, I never really, you hear the odd thing about the hot flash, and now I'm just starting to get the hot flashes and the not sleeping and all these fun things. And it's like, why aren't people talking more about it? So now, like, I was out last night with a friend and we're having dinner and I had a hot flash and I'm like, I'm having a hot flash. I put my hair up, but why aren't we talking about this more? It baffles me.
Yeah, we are. And that's exactly why we created Morphus, because when I was going through it, I started perimenopause at 47. And I remember none of my friends were really going through it, or at least they weren't open to talking about it. And I would be like, oh my God, I'm having all these hot flashes. And they're like, oh, I'm not there yet. And it's funny because it does still have that stigma, which is what we're trying to get rid of and banish that stigma around it. But I agree with you, Tracy. The more we talk about it, the more it becomes second nature. So I'll give you a great example. In my house, I've been talking about it now for probably 2 years. And I've got a son who's 17, and I've got a daughter who's 15, and a daughter who's 9. And I have 2 daughters, like my 9-year-old's getting into kind of going through puberty while I'm going through menopause. So it's really fun in our house, right? I've got 2 teenagers, daughter. So it's interesting because I had kids later, and we're all going through similar hormonal changes. And I talk about it so openly now that even my son, if I say something, I'm like, oh, my mood, or I refer to a hot flash, he's like, oh, it's because of menopause. So it's become so second nature in our house. Even my 9-year-old, we were out and I was cold, and I'm like, oh, I'm so cold. She's like, how are you cold? You're going through menopause. Because she's associated with the hot flash. And so I'm laughing. I'm like, yes, I've done my job. Like, I'm continuing to do it. That it's literally like, oh, it's menopause. Like, they don't even think twice about it. It's second nature.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important to talk about. And Jessica and I, when we work with women, we tell stories of all different women, all different ages. We actually have some 17-year-olds who recently reached out to us, and they are becoming ambassadors for our platform. And we have a woman in her 60s. So like all through the ranges. And I just think it's so important to keep talking about these, because those 17-year-olds also need to know what's coming. And I don't want to be embarrassed about what I'm going through. I think we should all be open and talking about it.
Yeah.
And same thing I would say too with our platform, like everybody's experience of menopause is unique. Like there's a lot of stuff that I heard. It's like, oh, you hit menopause and it's like, it's a sad time, or it's sort of, now I know it is for some women, because it's, you're no longer fertile or whatever. I had none of that. Like I hit menopause at like 48, my period stopped. I was like, woohoo! Like I didn't have a big mourning period. And I'm in my 50s now, and I had some physical complications further along, but I didn't experience this grief thing that other people do. So I think it's hard to, people forecast a lot of things, and it's like, don't worry about it. Your experience is going to be your experience.
I think that what a lot of women, they associate that grief because they have a lot of side effects, right? Or symptoms, signs and symptoms of menopause. So if you're going through hot flashes or mood swings, I mean, I know I've definitely experienced my share of mood swings and raging and all of that. So I think you're so lucky, Jessica. I wouldn't be telling too many people about that you literally sailed through it. No, I'm just kidding.
But at the beginning, like the one thing that I would say is I'm 57 now. And I thought that it was like, I did think, ooh, and then like hit 53 and things started checking in. And I definitely had night sweats and menopause, but I didn't have I'm a less valuable grief is what I meant. Like I had the physical side effects, but it didn't change the way that I was like, oh, this is a physical thing that I'm going through, but it didn't make me feel like I'm now less valuable because I'm in menopause. That's basically what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I would totally tie into that, because I feel that when you lose your fertility, when your periods stop, you're actually looked at as less valuable. And someone once said to me, oh, that's so sad, like you feel less sexy. And I think that's so wrong, that when you don't have your periods anymore, you can't have babies, it makes you less sexy. So I totally agree with what Jessica's saying. There's this sort of like myth around, it gets back to starting your business in your 50s. Most people in their 50s are like, they're slowing down, they're playing bridge, they're looking for other, like, no, I feel as vibrant now as I did when I was younger. And so this menopause label, even the word is ugly, menopause. I don't know. There's just something about it.
Nobody wants the men to pause.
Exactly. No one wants the men to pause. It's like, oh, you're not fertile now. You're not attractive, right? Well,
why didn't they just call us hot babes?
Hot babe pause. Not pause.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think it's so true. And by the way, Jessica, I was totally just kidding about not telling anybody.
Okay.
It's like, I laugh. I'm so envious of women who don't really have or sail through it. A lot of people I know do, which is amazing. But I do agree, and I do see what you're saying to your point about looking at it. You were looking at it from a very positive point of view, and you didn't have that negativity associated with it. I was talking to a neighbor of mine a couple of weeks ago, and we hadn't seen each other throughout self-isolation, and everybody's kind of coming out because it's nicer. And she had asked what I was doing now, and I'm like, oh, I started Morphus, and it's for menopause and perimenopause. And she was like, I don't even want to talk about it. And she's my age. She's like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to go there. And she had this negative connotation around it. And I said, well, that's exactly why we wanted to start Morphus, because we want to, and to your point, Jessica, is we want to get rid of that negativity. We want it to be a positive time in your life, even though we're a lot of us are suffering with these signs and symptoms. So we just wanted to be able to provide a new, refreshing perspective on this phase of our life.
But isn't it funny? Isn't it funny, when girls first start to menstruate, it's got physical symptoms too. They can have period cramps. They start to menstruate. And everybody's like, it's a celebration. Oh, look, you've become a young woman. And it has a physical side effects. Why with menopause, we wouldn't have a celebration? Look, you've got into your third act. You're coming into your full power. You've got this wisdom, like villages have, you're the leaders of the village at that stage. Like, we just got it wrong. Like, I think it's based, I don't know where it comes from, based on advertising, but it is based on a kind of, like Tracy, all tied to your fertility. And it's a very Western thing, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. Tracy, anything to add to that?
No, I totally agree. I do find there's a negative connotation. And when I first started talking about it, I didn't even like really talking about it. Now I'm comfortable talking about it, but I would love to get rid of that stigma. I would love to celebrate the fact that I've had 3 children, that I'm in my 50s, I'm fabulous. And now that part of my life is over, bearing children, but I'm still amazing. And I think menopause should be more of a celebration. I totally agree with what Jessica says, and not like, it's seen as like a death in a way, right? It's an ending. It should be a beginning, not an ending.
Exactly. Before we end our interview, is there any advice that you'd like to share with our viewers who are looking to start their own business while they're going through perimenopause and menopause? Jessica, let's start with you.
We put up a quote. It happened to be from a young woman, but I think it really applies, from one of the women we interviewed yesterday, and she said, "No, you can, and do it." Yeah. And her thing, and Tracy and I love that quote, because, you can spend all this time doing research, trying to figure it out or whatever. You will not have all your ducks in a row before you start. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. It's the whole reason we created our channel, is to show this is not a success. It's like, and it's a journey. You just have to start. You will figure it out. If you will really figure it out.
Yeah, and I can add to that too. I think a lot of women, especially in their 50s, whether they've worked or maybe they stopped working to have kids, they're nervous about starting something, because they're like, well, there's these, how can I compete with a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old? We don't have to compete. You can do what you do on your own terms. And I think that's what Jessica and I have done. Like, we worked the schedules that work for us. If one of us is tired or one of us is having a hot flash day, we'll say, take some time. And so we've made it work for us. And so I think you can do it when you're older, and you don't have to be scared that you're not young anymore. Only youth are able to run businesses. I think we're just as capable, if not more capable, because of as I mentioned before, because of the experience that we bring.
And add one tiny thing, we have to realize too, like we all keep talking about our biology, we're living way longer. Mm-hmm. You got a whole third act here. Most of us have another 30 years. Mm-hmm. And now you've got all this experience. Now you can just live out your dream.
I heard Oprah on the own podcast. She was interviewing 3 women, 3 celebrities, and they were all in their 50s or 60s. And she was saying that she doesn't understand why women are afraid to say their age. And she said, because when you minimize your age, you minimize your experience. And it is so true. And when I heard that, that was such an epiphany for me, because as I was approaching 50, I was like, oh, I'm 50. Oh my gosh. In my mind, that sounded so old. But once I heard that, I was like, it completely changed everything I thought about it. And now I tell everybody how old I am, because I really, by saying it is even proving to myself that I'm not embarrassed about it anymore. And you're right. With age comes experience. I mean, hello, we have, 20 years, Randy and I have 20 years experience in business. Both of you have each your 20, or I don't know how long in business too. I'm guessing it's somewhere around the same, that we've had our ups and our downs. We've tried so many things. We've succeeded, we've failed. And all of that is experience that we now have in our pot. It takes us into starting a career or doing something different or continuing what you're doing in this third phase. So yes, yay.
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 I saw just one that I saw Taya Leone being interviewed the other day. And she said she always adds like a decade onto her age, because then people are like, wow. Women go the other way. She goes, I added decade. They're like, oh God. I thought that's so smart,
That's awesome. I love that. Is there anything that both of you would like to share with our viewers before we end today's interview?
I can share one thing. I would like to say that I just love what I'm doing now in my 50s. I couldn't imagine not doing this. And I feel so lucky that I found like a fantastic friend and a business partner to do it with. So I think when we're in our 50s, if we have other fabulous women in our life, to reach out to them, because it's nice to do it with somebody and not to do it alone, as you work with Randy as well. And so I feel very grateful for my friendship, my business partnership with Jessica, and I encourage other women to explore those options.
I would totally echo that sentiment. I mean, Tracy and I are always saying, Tracy and I are basically invested in, both of us are each other's happiness. We want the best for each other. And so we always say, like, this experience of creating this business, whether the business worked out or not, we wouldn't give up the experience for anything. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey together. So do it just for that. Do it just for the experience. Don't worry about, like, if I get to this place or have some idea, if I do this, I'm successful. Just doing it, you're successful.
I love that. And I'm a huge fan of partnerpreneurs. I always say I'm the consummate partnerpreneur, because I do love working with others. And especially as we get into this phase, perimenopause and menopause, working with someone else, another woman, to be able to do something that you love to do. It brings joy to your life, and you're using all of those pots of experience can only make it to be amazing. So I love that you both said that. Thank you so much for doing our show today. I really appreciate both of you and what both of you are doing. Can you please share how people can get in touch with you if they want to visit She's on Top?
We have a website. If you go to she'sontop.com, you can find all your information there. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can link from that website. And we just launched a membership, which is really fun. So it's really a more interactive community of women, literally supporting women, collaborating, supporting each other's businesses. And then we have a lot of other activities in it as well. So that's brand new. And we would love you to join our community.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that you're inspired to start your own business. Please give us a big thumbs up. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please turn on your notification bell so that you are notified every single time we have a new Menopause video. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.